if life becomes difficult, become very difficult for us to think clearly and stay in balance. And this is what leads many people, unfortunately, to becoming hostile or violent in life, or depressed or angry or jealous. Life's experiences build up. They have so many problems in life that are so difficult. They develop all these emotions and attitudes where they can't see things clearly. So their subconscious never even gets a chance to react. And then if they're too far gone, which leads to violence or jealousy or whatever, that the spirit itself will just literally shut down. It will no longer even be interested in any of the information that the material self is gathering. The life from that point on is just considered a spiritual waste. That the spirit itself will no longer be interested in anything that the material side comes up with. No more wisdom could be added because it's all illogical. Meditation allows us the possibility of reprogramming and changing things. It is the process where we can shut down the material senses, and very slowly an individual that may have all these problems can learn to overcome them and reprogram themselves through benefit of their spiritual self. They can literally ask their spirit for advice and help sort out problems, which the spirit will do. Your spiritual subconscious will go in there and think things through for you and give you back feelings and ideas and hunches that are, good for you. Your material self then, especially if someone's guiding you, your material self then can begin to learn from these experiences and start seeing itself clearer and get itself back in balance. So we have a process here by which we could reclaim mental health. We could overcome personality problems, depression, things like that. We could, through meditation, incorporate this in and make kind of a new psychology of the future through spiritual development. Through use of the spirit, which never gets sick and never dies, we can learn to control and change ourselves somewhat. Again, you see that the spirit's always open for business. It listens to everything unless you go berserk in life and it has to shut down because you're way off track. But it's open all the time. It records all your thoughts, all your movements and so forth. It's paying attention to everything. And it sends answers to the human being if his thoughts are right or wrong. You just have to learn to pay attention to it. You learn through meditation to create what's called the pause. That slight split second when information comes in, and before you react with your material self, you consult your spiritual self to see about that. Ask yourselves, like asking a good friend that'll always tell you the right answer. You can learn to pause and kind of like mentally quickly get an opinion from your spiritual self, and it will answer you truthfully. The spirit is the carrier of the creation. It's found in everyone. On our spiritual self is that part piece of creation. And remember, creation is the perfection. It has the ultimate peace, the ultimate universal love. So what a great place to consult with. And if you have this great spiritual self within you that has the ability to touch and feel that and consult with it and draw information from it, why not use it? Many of the old philosophers always made reference to the individual as being, every man contains a microcosm within a microcosm, and that's true. Because everything in the universe that exists, everything within creation, also exists in the human being. There are different dimensions in the inner being that are endless. So it's beginning to look like the matrix of the creation, the logic of the creation comes into the spirit. The spirit facilitates creating the body. So information from the spirit is in every cell, every atom particle of the body itself. And these get smaller and smaller all the time. So there's kind of like microcosm within microcosm. There's a copy of your creation. Your spirit has a copy of creation. It's in everybody, and it contains all dimensions. You see, when an individual can start looking at life with a balanced view from his material side and his spiritual side, when he learns to start using the spirit all the time as a source of energy, of knowledge, of wisdom, then he starts becoming a much happier individual. That way he's not prone to knee-jerk responses and emotions that get him entirely out of whack, and he's not going to overreact to things and over-respond. He'll be able to calmly see things. He'll be able to always refer to his spiritual self for knowledge. The nice part, too, is that he'll just be a lot happier. An individual who lives, by the creational logic, who uses his spiritual self and is always seeking to get closer to creation, will find that he is somehow just luckier, and he has kind of spiritual poise. See, luck belongs to the inner being. It's an inseparable mark of the existence of the spirit within you. When you are close to that spiritual self, it just naturally happens. There's a force that rises up in you. The material body may continue to age. It gets older and the material body changes, but the spirit itself doesn't age like that. Even though you may be 50, 70, 80 years old materially, where the body is starting to deteriorate, the spiritual self has not aged. It still remains young and healthy and vibrant inside in there. So you can even use your spiritual self to facilitate looking better and living longer. At least while you're alive, your material self will be happier, more fulfilled, and you'll have a healthier life. Once an individual recognizes his spirit, he becomes to become more powerful, and doubts and things like that in depression just vanish away. If you even try it yourself after listening to this tape and start making some efforts in meditation, we have a tape on meditation in this kit also. If you listen to that and start practicing that, you'll find just with a few simple exercises and practicing, you'll get in touch with your spirit. You'll be able to use it a little bit and find that there's an exhilarating feeling in calling upon your spirit and doing something for the right reasons and finding that it's actually in there and making that connection with creation. It's exhilarating. The world will look different. Instantly you feel better about life. Any fears about death just vanish right away. And there's this wisdom that comes into you, that there's a calmness with it, a peace with it that makes you feel really good. And it's kind of like an inner light that comes with you. See, wisdom and spirit, they're two factors, but they really result in just basically the same thing, because your spirit contains all of that wisdom. A person who knows and can feel the creation once that happens develops an inner peace and assurance. He can defend himself against any kind of silly thoughts or strange feelings because of the power that grows within you. The way you do it is you deliberate on the truth. Wisdom and knowledge of creation, it affects your feelings and changes an individual's thinking. The more his intelligence, the more you direct your intelligence to the quest of knowledge about the creation, the more forceful becomes your personality and the easier your life actually becomes. First, all it's necessary to do is learn the spirit intellectual mode of thinking, and then you recognize how right it actually is, how it actually works, how you can actually get in touch with the creation itself through your spirit. When you have your first successes through meditation, then you move forward by very large leaps and bounds because you know you're onto something. You get excited and there's this enlargement of the spiritual self. There's this inner power. You start feeling much luckier. Things just get easier. It just happens for someone. And you begin to understand that it's good to be 100% responsible for yourself. You develop this feeling of confidence and assuredness that only comes from the knowledge of your own personal power, your own spirit. Your development then is free from fear and anxiety. Those things no longer bother you at all. So you would no longer have any doubts or fears about death. They just vanish, and you can keep constantly in touch with this feeling about universal love and the great feelings that you can get by constantly knowing that creation is there. It's a great strength. Okay, I can see we're running out of tape again, so it's time to stop this part. We have two more important tapes, Meditation and Psyche, which lead in more into the mechanics of things, so I'll meet you over there.